Today on Recovery Monday, we're going to meet Gary. Gary has been sober for 26 years, but it took a lot of pulling on him to get him there. His story, what it was like, what happened, and what he's like now. Today, live on Recovery Monday.
Seems like all I could see was the struggle. Haunted by ghosts that lived in my past. Bound up in shackles of all my failures. Wondering how long is this gonna last? And you look at this prisoner and say to me, son, stop fighting a fight it's already been won. And I am redeemed.
It is the 20th day of May in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Recovery Monday. Thanks for being here today. Love my job. Couldn't do it without you right here at webcastonelive.com and 99.3 KTIA. For those of you on the web today, you will not have a visual of Gary. As many people who choose in their lives to get sober, to live a sober life, there is a certain amount of anonymity that comes with that. And so with the camera part of Webcast One Live, that makes some people uncomfortable. So you'll just have to trust me that there is a man sitting here named Gary, and he's with us all. Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat watching the chat. Did you have a nice weekend, Bob?
Yeah. Nice weekend. Took a trip on motorcycle down to Pella and had some breakfast with other people. It was nice.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you getting out a little bit and spending time with people.
I need to, yes.
And Lila from Powell CDC. What does CDC stand for?
Chemical dependency.
Chemical Dependency Center.
Center.
Okay. So Lila is here from Powell CDC, and we want to always encourage you that if there is someone in your life, it's not you. I'm really not talking about you, but there is somebody in your life, maybe a mom or a dad or a sibling or a spouse, a child, someone at work that you think has alcohol issues, has problems with alcohol. We would encourage you to call Lila or one of the counselors up at Powell CDC and see if it's something that maybe they can help you with. When you're on the front side of a drug or alcohol dependency, it's scary and you're never going to quit and you're never going to get there, and you probably think that you'll whip this disease. And then you all of a sudden realize you can't. And most of the time that comes from people who love you, begging with you to please get help. And when you get on the backside of this disease and you begin to look back at what your life was like, you'll be so thankful that programs like this and people like Gary and Lila are willing to step up and share with you their strength and hope and encouragement on how you too can become a sober living person. All right, Gary, welcome to the show. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here today. And you are a facilitator at Powell.
Yes.
And Lila, tell people what that means, because that's a huge voluntary job.
Yes. We have aftercare groups. We meet once a week. We have them every night, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings. And there's between 5 and 20 people per group. And they're peer-led groups. And the facilitator has to go through facilitator's training. They have to be sober for a year. And most of them have been, somebody has suggested that they think that that person would be a good facilitator. Mm-hmm. They have leadership abilities. And we have probably, I think, 17 different groups.
Wow. And these are people who have come through treatment, either inpatient or outpatient, and then you keep track of them once a week in these groups.
Yes.
And then you get together with these groups, and these groups are basically their accountability partners.
Yeah, they're feelings groups, and they talk about their feelings, things that have happened in the last week. They're also for the families of people that have gone through treatment as well.
Okay.
Concerned people.
Okay, so my wife could join. Would she be in the same facilitator group that I'm in?
No, they would be in different groups so
Okay.
that you have the freedom to talk about whatever it is that's bothering you.
Would she be in a group with people who have gotten sober or other spouses?
We have both.
Both. Okay.
Most of the groups, they're called mixed groups, and we have concerned people. It's good for them to be in a room full of other alcoholics or druggies that are telling the story in a way that they could really hear it. Sometimes when you're living with somebody and you hear the same story over and over,
Yeah.
you just start going, yeah, and you don't hear it. But when you hear someone else saying the same thing, you can actually hear what they're saying.
Oh, I know it. I'll tell my kids to do something, and I'll tell them 100 times, and then all of a sudden my wife will suggest it, and it's a good idea. So I know how that works. All right, Gary, so you're from Des Moines originally?
Yes, I am.
What high school did you graduate from?
Roosevelt.
Oh, you're a Rough Rider.
Yep.
And were you drinking? First of all, was alcohol your only drug of choice, or were there others?
Oh, no. I'm pretty much everything I can get my hands on.
Okay, and did that start in high school?
I was pretty much full-blown alcoholic by the time I was 18.
Really?
I started drinking when I was 11. I stole my first beer out of my dad's refrigerator.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Grain Belt.
Yeah, sure.
That was, about 50 cents a can.
Yeah.
And I drank it, and I took another one. I had a friend with me, and he missed them right away. Bam. That night he got home from work. Dad was a ornery cuss, and
Okay.
he was not happy.
That you had taken his beers.
Right. I thought he was going to pull my arm off talking to me.
Did you deny it?
No.
No.
I knew he knew.
You knew he knew.
He was hot. Came out in the backyard.
What, was he an alcoholic?
No. He had maybe, it probably took him a month to drink a six-pack
Oh, wow.
at the most. I
Yeah.
mean, he never drank much.
But he knew you had taken
Yeah.
those 2 grain
He was a
belts.
big success, really. His own man, I admired him, but I stayed away from him.
Yeah. What did he do for a living?
He was a builder.
Builder. Okay. All right. So at age 11, you sold your first grain belt. Where did it go from there?
Well, I was in love with the taste,
Okay.
which is some people that get in trouble with alcohol. It isn't particularly the taste; it's the effect. But I was kind of double whammy, and by the time I'd gotten to 16, I'd met a little circle of friends that liked to drink. And I started drinking on the weekends when I could get it, and then when I got to be 18, I got it every weekend. I was pretty much drunk bencher.
Yeah, because back then 18 was the legal age to buy, right?
I don't recall that. I think it was 21.
Oh, but you got it anyway at 18.
Right. Oh, no, I had somebody get it for me. I had an ID,
Okay.
whatever.
And so at 18, you were kind of a full-blown alcoholic?
Right.
What'd your parents think about that?
Oh, I don't think they knew. They were
Okay.
pretty naive about it.
All right. You didn't take any more of Dad's grain belts.
No.
Did you ever give him any?
Oh, I took, what else did I take? I took a lot of whiskey and stuff out of his liquor cabinet and watered it down. He never knew because he never drank it.
Oh. That's an old trick that people do, isn't it, Lila? Is they'll pour water.
Yeah, my dad caught my friends doing it to his liquor cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to keep my gin in the freezer. So if somebody stole my gin and they tried to water it down, I'd know because it would freeze.
yeah.
So anyway. So what, just beer or hard liquor too?
Oh, and hard liquor. I couldn't hold it very well. I was drunk pretty easily.
Okay. And what were you like when you were drunk?
Well, Dad told me he didn't like me after one. After
Okay.
I got turned to be about 25 years old, he just said, if you're going to drink, I don't want to be around you.
Okay.
And I got to realize then that I was not a happy guy. I could drink with 4 of my friends, and they'd drop me off at some park and leave me lay
Really?
there.
Were you physical? Were you angry? Were you
Angry. Very angry person.
You get angry real easy.
Yeah, I got my block knocked off a few times for it.
Sure, because you'd mouth off or.
Yeah.
Now, were you a club person or in the car drinking? Or
I like the
where did you
tavern a
go?
little better and playing pool.
Okay, taverns and pool,
I was
smokies.
a carpenter. I grew into being a carpenter. I started cleaning up yards and doing labor work for my dad. Then I got a crew of my own.
Okay.
And when I did that, I'd hit the tavern about 4 or 4:30. I was a really good pool player.
Okay.
So I could take my wife out after dinner and go there again, shoot for $1 a game. That was a big deal, and not get beat for a while, and pay for my beer for a while.
And your wife didn't mind. Was she your caretaker? Did she kind of?
Well, you know, when I
babysit
met
you?
her, I was stone cold sober. I'd gotten to a point in my life where I didn't even drink tea. I was a commodity broker, and the semblance here is a little difficult for me. But when I met her, she was slinging burgers for her dad.
Okay.
And I walked out of the restaurant and didn't pay. Forgot to pay. She came charging after me, and it took me about 4 times asking her out if she'd go out with me. And she finally went out for lunch with me.
So you don't think you didn't pay just so you'd have her chase you out of the restaurant?
Maybe unconsciously, but
Yeah.
no, I didn't do it on purpose.
Okay.
How old were you at that time?
Probably around 23.
Yeah, I had a question for you, Gary. When you took her out on the first date, did you pay?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was enamored with her. She was sharp.
And did you? And so you stopped drinking when you started dating her?
I wasn't drinking or drugging or anything for a long time, and then I started drinking and drugging, meaning marijuana, that kind of stuff. And she wanted to try it, so she experimented with it, but she was a recreational user. I don't know how there is such a thing, but she didn't hardly use it and didn't like it. She thought marijuana made her cold and clammy. She didn't try anything else.
Okay.
I'm ashamed to admit all the other stuff I did as far as my drugs, but I did. I tried just about every kind of narcotic there was.
Yeah.
And that wasn't all. You know, I really got into it. And
Like what?
Oh, like I tried heroin. I write my own prescriptions. You know, some serious things I did.
Okay.
I'm lucky I didn't have to pay for that.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? What I mean?
You know, pay for it like with jail time?
Yeah.
or
Yeah. like
losing
with
your
you.
wife or something like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, when did you realize that all the drinking and drugging had to go away or something bad was going to happen?
Well, you know, I went to treatment originally with my wife
Okay.
down into a little burg down in Missouri, Kansas, Norton, Kansas,
Norton, Kansas.
a place called Valley Hope.
Okay.
And it was an old Best Western they had converted.
Okay.
So when you walked out of your room, you were in the parking lot.
All right.
I had a new car, and she was with me, and it took me a long time to get there because I didn't want to go. But it was either I go and take her, you know, or this was the bottom line. I didn't know what the hell. I was so mean at this point. But the fact of the matter was that I was done, and it wore off, and I just didn't get it to begin with. And I had an operation on my knee, and I had narcotics in my pocket right away, and I was at it again for 6 months to a year. Finally, she walked up in the yard and looked me squarely in the eye and said, "I'll tell you what, I love you, but I'm leaving you if you don't get help." And I mean it. And, you know, to think you're going to lose your wife and your child and your home, I was there that day.
So you went back to treatment again?
Yes, I did.
Same place?
That was the most miserable 4 weeks of my life.
Yeah, why?
Well, I really had to be introspective
Yes.
and realize all these mistakes I'd made.
Yes.
And they had halfway through, they had a hot seat, they called it, where you sat in front of the community and they told you what they did not like about you for half an hour. And then they told you what they liked about you for half an hour. And it was hell. It was
I'll bet.
real hard.
Is that tactic still used?
No,
The hot seat?
no.
I
Never
would.
heard of it, actually.
I wouldn't. That would be very enjoyable. Well, we're talking to Gary today, and you've been sober 26 years.
Yes.
So your final treatment must have been when you were about 30,
Oh, boy. 39, I think.
39, and that was when your wife just basically came up and said, "That's it."
Yep.
All right. Going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll learn more about what happened with Gary in treatment and all the other things that happened to make him finally quit. And now, what is his life like now? It's Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC, Lila Stafford in the house, along with Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, Father Tattoo producing. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on KTIA, Iowa.
Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershad.
I am administrative manager
I am the senior technician.
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed rider, it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of Recovery Monday with your host, Jay Michael McCoy.
Welcome back, 21 minutes after the hour on the 20th day of May in the Lord's year 2013. Recovery Monday with Powell CDC. Lila Stafford in the house along with Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, Father Tattoo Producing, and our special guest today is Gary, 26 years sober. But we want to go back, and we got ahead of ourselves a little bit in the last story. Things really got tough for you when you were about 23, you said. You overdosed on LSD.
Overdosed to the point of almost killing myself. I had about 8 doses of orange sunshine, which was supposed to be the most potent. And I got so bad that I ended up in Lutheran Hospital in the mental ward, and then it was a room where they didn't give you anything but a mattress on the floor. Rubber room, they called it.
Okay.
And I got to know this Marine guy. He was all in white and the brass buckle and the whole deal. And he kept coming in saying, "Can you tell us your name now? Can you tell us your name?" No. Took me overnight. And finally I was able to tell him who I was. And he said, "How would you feel about going out and eat outside of that picnic table if we bring you something to eat?" I was dying to eat something. I was starving, and it was an iron picnic table that was mounted down to the floor with the seats. So I went out there and sat down, and he brought me some box of food, and I ate it. And then I stayed in that place for, I believe, 5 weeks it was. And I wouldn't let my folks in. I was just being a horse's you-know-what. And I got a choice to go from them because they had control over me at the time.
Okay.
To go to another place down in Topeka, Kansas, which is one of the world-renowned mental hospitals down there. And I got a nun for a counselor. She was probably about as mean as my dad. I don't want to talk about any names down there, but actually, after a while, I got to enjoying it. There was art, there was classes, they were just trying to make a normal life for you, you know. And I couldn't do that.
Did you have some type of mental disorder or mental malfunction?
Well, I don't know. I don't think I did.
Okay.
I think it was the drugs.
Okay.
It's hard to answer that. I think I was so into drugs and booze for so long, since, you know, 18 years old, pretty young. I think there may have been a little something wrong with me.
Were they addressing the drug use, or were they looking at the
No,
mental
they were
part?
they thought they had addressed it, that since I had quit, now it was time to develop a life. And they wanted me to move from there into a house. They wanted me to live down there.
Okay.
I jumped the fence finally.
Literally?
Yeah, I climbed it and had nothing, just me, just my clothes on my back. And I thumbed it out to the interstate and hitchhiked home. And it was late, and I rode with a guy with an Austin Healey Sprite. He had a gas leak, and you could smell it all the way home. Anyway, I got home and looked up some of my friends. I had a house of my own, but I had no keys. And I stayed with this friend and finally called my dad. I said, I'm home. And he said, what are you going to do? And it was a typical father-son going at it again. And that's when I decided I'd better stay clean and sober for a while, and I did. Met my wife, and we went together for a while, and I stayed that way. But you know, when I got back to really using again, I was doing the same thing. You know, I broke her heart to a point, and she went to treatment with me, and then I did it again, and I was going to lose her, and I had to get back.
So you went to your third treatment?
I went to my second treatment. First time she went with me to the first one.
Okay.
And my counselor sat there with her. We had times when we'd kind of do these confrontational things with the counselor so she could talk. She was pretty quiet. And finally at the very end, he said, you know, everything just went too good. I don't know what's cooking here, but it just doesn't seem like we did this right. And, that got me, you know. So we left and went home. I was pretty happy. They asked me how I feel, and I said, I feel terrible, but I'm glad. And I didn't know what that meant, but I made it home. It's hard to say where my head was when I got home. I had too much anxiety. I didn't know what I wanted to do for my job. I didn't really know what to do. And between then and when I don't even remember what I did for that 6 months before I went to my treatment for me. And at that time, I got a lady who was a Mormon, she turned out to be there, and she was there, but she was a Hell's Angel.
Now, hold on. When you said you went to my treatment for me.
Just by myself.
Okay, and you wanted to be there.
No, I had to be there.
Okay, all right.
If I wanted to keep my wife, I pretty much had to go.
Okay.
And I needed it, and I knew it.
All right. So then you went here and you got a Mormon lady?
For a counselor.
For a counselor.
But she was a Mormon at the time. Before that, she had been an addict, an alcoholic. She rode with the Hells Angels. And they didn't want her. They dumped her in her yard. That doesn't say much about you, does it?
No.
And
when you're discarded by the Hells Angels, you pretty much hit bottom, I think.
That's right. That's right. She broke her leg real bad. She had a couple of pegs of steel in a femur, and then the bottom part was all metal. She walked real bad. She was a sweet lady to a point, and then you'd sit down and she'd really get you. She told me to get 2 sponsors. She told me to get home and get counsel. Be sure and join a church. And I did all those things, and it really helped right off the bat. It was hard socializing. I was pretty antisocial, and joining the church and having people over was so awkward and hard to do. It's hard to describe. But
Was it hard to socialize because usually you'd be drinking when you were socializing?
that's all I'd ever known,
Okay.
as long as I can remember back. But I was glad to meet my minister. I had some tough times, and he was there.
Okay. Who was that? Or do you want to say?
No, well, Jim Cord was his name.
Is he passed on now?
No, he's still feisty. He just retired.
Okay.
Went to a wedding of his boy here not too long. Yes, this weekend, and
Okay.
he's a good guy. We had some serious health trouble with my son. A couple of brain surgeries, heart surgery, and he went and he was there at 5 a.m, a 3-hour drive away.
Wow.
Got up at 2. But I love him, and he's been there for me.
All right. So you get back and you join the church, and are you going to a 12-step meeting or anything?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm probably going to 3 a week, maybe 4.
Okay. And did you have 2 sponsors?
Yes.
What for? What? I've never heard of that.
When one wasn't around, the other one was.
Okay. All right.
And one was a doctor, and he was a radiologist, and the other one was a laborer type that just really knew the book.
Okay.
And he was a Bible thumping type, and pretty much his advice was always to get my little behind home and start reading my book. And he'd give me the areas I should read in. And
The big book or the Bible?
the big book.
Okay. And for those of you that don't know, the big book is the manual for the 12 steps of a 12-step program.
Right.
And so how old were you about now?
39.
39. And is this when sobriety began for you?
Yes.
What was the toughest thing about getting sober, about being sober, about living sober?
It was the first 5 years of being sober for me.
5 years.
I
thought
didn't
you were going
wanna
to say
say-
like 5 weeks.
I didn't want to say that, that it's 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I think if someone would have just let me in on somehow to live without going around thinking how hard it was, the struggle, to get past the struggle. And it's really not that hard. You can make it a struggle if you want to. I started lifting weights. I was a monster in about a year, and I couldn't stop. I just loved it, bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, anyway, I wanted to learn how to sell, and I couldn't. I knew I could sell, but I didn't. I went back to selling some of the old stuff I used to, and I couldn't do it. I was barely making enough money. And then all of a sudden, I broke into my own. And I got my own corporation in siding and windows and room improvements. And I quit the room improvements and really figured out a way to make a good product I could stand behind with a lifetime warranty, Energy Star product, And I sold it. And pretty soon, I wasn't just out of the woods. I was rocking. I bought an airplane and then traded up 3 times and had a big airplane finally.
Yeah. What's big?
Oh, to me, it's 6-passenger, 310 horse.
Okay.
I wish it were a jet, but didn't quite get that far.
Yeah, that would have been the next one. Gary's our guest today, and he's just talking a little bit about his. So you had, if you quit at 39 and you started at 11, so you had 28 years of hard drinking and drugging.
I wouldn't say I was hard drinking after 11. I'd say really started hard drinking at 16.
Okay. And now the wife that you quit doing all the drinking and drugging for, are you still with her?
Yeah.
So you've been married to the same woman
Over
all
40 years. Yeah, over 40 years.
Now, if she was sitting here, what would she tell me those years were like? From the time that she chased you out of the restaurant because you didn't pay the bill till you got sober.
I'll tell you something. She'd better say something like I cherish her, because I do. I'm a gentleman.
Okay.
I learned that from the beginning. My mother was a very gentle person, and she was always telling me how to be a gentleman.
Right.
And Dad kept saying, yeah, and if you want a good woman, you got to be a gentleman. And it was really true. So I've been a gentleman.
And is she a good wife?
Oh, the best. I love her to death.
Yeah. And she stuck with you. But do you think she really would have left you if you hadn't stopped?
No. Oh, she might have. It's hearsay at this point.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Well, it might be a conversation between the two of you.
Yeah. I don't know. She's the type of woman that she had left, I think. She had left, and that'd have been the end of it.
Now, you have children?
I have one boy.
And he was the one that had some medical issues?
Yep.
What happened with him?
Well, he had a brain tumor around the optic nerve. And they went in, got it, took a little of his sight, found another one a year later. Went back in, brain surgery twice. And after he got through the second one, he was 75% blinded. And for good, because the lamp's out when it's like a lamp cord, when you bump those optic nerves bad enough. So he adjusted. We took him to a real high, tech type of lady, and she built him some glasses that were pretty good, and they helped with a refractory vision, a refractory type of view.
Yeah.
And he gets along okay. We got him a computer with the huge letters on it, and he married a doctor, a physician's assistant, who was devoted to getting work, to making herself really into something, and she really did.
Good.
They're living in a great big house and driving new cars, and he's a happy dude. Got a couple of grandkids for me.
Here in town?
Nope, he lives in Kansas City. We go to all the Chiefs games, home games.
Okay.
Now, was he involved in drugs or alcohol?
Yeah, he went to treatment and never could get it going. He went to Schick Shadle up in Seattle. And
What do you mean he never could get it going?
He never got it going with the spiritual program.
Does he drink today?
He tried it twice. No.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Schick Shadle?
I think I've heard you talk about it before. It sounded horrible.
Oh, man.
I want to hear about it when we come back. We're coming up on a break.
All right.
Schick Shadle?
Schick, like a Schick razor. That's the guy.
Schick Shadle.
Yep.
Treatment center in Canada.
Seattle, Washington.
Seattle. All right. Well, we'll talk about that. This program brought to you by Powell CDC. Lila Stafford in the house, along with our special guest, Gary, today. Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat, and Father Tattoo producing. We'll be back live right now after this on 99.3 KTIA, powered by WebcastOneLive.com.
Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I am administrative manager
I am the senior technician.
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
If we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, it's your home.
It's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
If you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? You can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
fixed rider, it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
Welcome back to The View from a Pew with the Monday edition called Recovery Monday with your host, J. Michael McCoy.
Thanks, Father Tattoo. It is the 20th day of May in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Today is Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC. If you have someone in your life who is struggling with drugs and alcohol, I would encourage you to call Powell CDC and sit down with a counselor. What is the, I should ask, what is the process? Someone calls and then what? Hold on just a second. Go ahead.
When someone calls Powell, they're forwarded to an intake counselor, and they'll be given an appointment, come in for an appointment, and then they'll evaluate them and decide what the best way to go is, whether they need inpatient or outpatient, and then they're put in the place where would work best for them.
What determines whether you're inpatient or outpatient?
Inpatient usually is determined by if you have to detox. You'll be put on a detox ward for a few days, maybe a week, depending on what you've taken and what detoxing means for that particular drug.
Okay.
And sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's 2 weeks. And then you'll be after there's the third floor of Lutheran is for that, and then you're brought down to the first floor where we have where you'll have a few days there, and then probably go to outpatient after that, and you'll come every day for 4 weeks.
How much of your clientele is court ordered?
I don't know what percent. I don't know what percent, but there aren't that many anymore. It used to be that Powell took a lot of those, and now Mecca kind of takes those clients. But there are lots that are in trouble with the law, and they have, I don't know if they're court ordered, but they come to make it better.
Sure.
So when they do go to court, it looks like they're trying hard.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
That was me. Yeah. People always ask me, I've been sober for a little over 3 years now, 1,107 days. And people always ask me, well, have you relapsed? And I say, well, no. And then about 6 months ago, I started saying, well, I guess I did, because I got sent to Powell by a judge, outpatient, and I never took it seriously. I did it simply to get the judge off my back, and so it would look good on my record. And then once I was done, I was done. Never walked back into a 12-step meeting until I voluntarily went back 11 years later.
Well, there are stages of change, and it depends where you are on that. Many people, if you're pre-contemplative, which you might have been at the time, it doesn't even occur to you that you have a problem. It's always everybody else, or, no, I just got picked, it was just luck with the draw, whatever. Yeah. You're blaming other people.
Yeah.
But it progresses to a place where you will actually start taking action and have maintenance and like going to meetings and keeping up with your sobriety. But there's different levels in there. So it depends where you are at what level as to what you are willing to do or what you're willing to look at. So when people say they've relapsed, it's like they may not be ready for it yet.
Right. Yeah. I quit. Pressure from some friends and kind of my wife, but not really. And so I thought, well, I'd show them that I could quit drinking, and I quit drinking for 27 days. And at the night of the 27th, I took them all out to a nice restaurant. And we had martinis.
Yeah. See, I can quit.
Yeah.
That's what everyone says.
And that's exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting at the end of the table, and one of my best friends leaned over and said, "Are you sure you should be drinking this?" Because they knew I was an alcoholic. I didn't. I wasn't an alcoholic. I just drank too much.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's something about that name, just being called an alcoholic.
Yeah.
That just nobody wants that name attached to them. It's a burden.
Well, I felt that way, and then one of the first meetings that I went to, somebody said, "Do you know the difference between an alcoholic and a drunk?" And I said, "No, I don't." And they said, "Well, drunks don't go to meetings." And I thought, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, Gary, you were starting to tell us a little bit about your son who was sent to Schick Shadle. Is that right?
Yes.
Sheik Shadle?
Yes. Schick.
Schick, like the razor.
That's right.
All right. And what kind of treatment center was that?
Well, it was fairly modern day, and it's recognized pretty much all around the world. It's a treatment center that is teaches you attrition to it. Is that what I'm trying to say? The word I'm trying to come up with?
Nutrition?
No, to push it away.
Attrition, yes.
Attrition.
Yeah.
You go in. They put you in a robe. They get you with the doctor eventually, and you go in with another person, and they have you pick out everything you like to drink. They take it with you in there, and they give you some medication, and you start drinking. And then you start throwing up because of the medication they gave you.
Yeah.
And you throw up for 2 to 3 hours solid without stopping. Your eyeballs about to pop out. And then you go to bed. And then you get up later and eat some soup. And they give you sodium pentothal to find out, no matter what you're going to say, the truth's coming out of your mouth. How do you like the drinking? Could you drink again? That kind of thing. Oh, I don't think I could drink again, you know. Okay, so they do it the next night, and by the time you get to maybe the third night, and I don't know if this is all accurate, but close.
Okay.
You're saying, "Oh, are you kidding? I could not drink. I just can't. I don't want to go near that. I just don't want to." Well, that's what the whole thing's about, and you know, I just hope he doesn't care if I say this, but it sounded like the roughest thing I've ever heard of. I'd rather go through what I did 100 times than go through what he did. He was going in and he was coming out of a renewal. They go up again and get a 2 or 3 day renewal doing the same thing.
Would they make him throw up?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And he came out, and some girl was throwing up going in to get a renewal.
Now, how long after treatment would they go for a renewal?
Oh, like 6 months or a year or something like that. I can't remember. Wow. But he's fine. He was sitting at the table one night. We were all as a family sitting around, and my sister-in-law offered rum cake to everybody and gave him one, and he took a bite, and he had to charge for the sink. He was going to throw up because of the rum in the cake.
Sounds like Pablo's dogs. You see the thinking, ooh.
Well, what's that drug that they can give you that'll make you do that, Bob? What is the drug that if you take alcohol in, you'll throw it up?
Well, you mean the Antabuse?
Antabuse, that's it.
Which it keeps it in the acetaldehyde form, which makes you sick. Your body normally can deal with the acetaldehyde. It's a fast changeover, but it keeps it in that state, and you get really sick.
Yeah,
but you have to keep taking that.
But you have to keep taking it. But I remember that you couldn't take mouthwash with that have alcohol in it,
cough medicine,
deodorant, cough medicine, hairspray.
Right, aftershave, anything with any alcohol in it would cause you to be really sick. Right.
But it's one way
They're
to.
very cautious about giving that out now.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
However, I do have a friend that is asking for it right now.
Yeah.
So.
I was going to ask on the Schick Shadle Hospital, was that in Denton, Texas?
Seattle.
Seattle. Okay, because I'm on the website and I see one in Seattle and one in
I'm
Texas.
certain that they probably moved to another place. 2, you know, they probably opened another one.
Okay.
They've been pretty successful.
And it's a hospital.
Yes. No, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a treatment center.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the website, it calls it a hospital, but they do treatment. It says recovery from just checking it
So
out.
if your son today were to be around alcohol, would he throw up?
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But he's around it all the time at his house. He'll have somebody will bring it in, or he'll go to parties. I don't like that. I can't hack that. I don't want to be around it.
Yeah.
So
But
you're
I
not
will.
around it at all?
No, I'm around it when my wife wants to go to a party or a reception or a Christmas party or something like that. I can go.
Does it drive you crazy?
Yes, I hate it.
Let's talk about that when we come back. The anxiety that comes with just living life normally, socially, when you have alcohol all around you. We'll do that when we come back live here on 99.3 KTIA, powered by webcastonelive.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome back to Recovery Monday here on The View from a Pew with your host, J. Michael McCoy.
10 before the top, 20th day of May in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy. This is Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC. Lila Stafford here, along with Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat. And Father Tattoo producing. Our guest today has been Gary. Gary, I sure do appreciate you coming on and sharing this story with us. What's it like for you when you're around people who are socially drinking?
Well, it's difficult, meaning I have to try and join in a little bit. My friends that drink, keep it down. They have a couple or three, I suppose.
Yeah.
I was remembering the table, just thinking about the table that we had at this reception for this big wedding, and everybody at the table was drinking. And I saw maybe all of them drinking two or three. You're really aware of the booze, you know. I just don't like that part. I don't,
I
you
bet
know,
they
that
stopped.
I
Did
don't
they stop
know.
after two or three?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, what they're thinking, but you know, I don't know how normal that is. I don't know if that's normal or not.
Yeah, I always have people say, how did you know you're an alcoholic? I said, well, first of all, if I have to ask, I probably am one. But the other one was that I never left a drink unfinished. You know, there was walk away from a half-drank gin and 7. No way.
All right.
Bottle had only an inch or so on the bottom. Well, let's just kill it now. And why wait? And the other one was I just couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop. I couldn't stop.
After two or three, I could never stop.
Yeah.
Unless I consciously was telling myself you have to.
What makes you think you could stop after one?
Well, actually, you can't. But I just remember thinking.
It's the game you play.
Trigger, yeah.
That's a game you play. I can prove I'm not an alcoholic because I'm going to stop at 3.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to 3, the alcohol takes over the thinking and it says, give me more. It's that stinking thinking.
I didn't really mean that.
So now you help facilitate. Tell me what joy you get out of that as you facilitate through
I
Powell.
feel like I'm giving something back. And for all this time I've put in, I really have given something back. I don't go as a leader. I go as a person who's in the group. You know, there's nothing like it. There's not. It isn't going to a meeting. It isn't going to treatment. It's aftercare. It's something that I really enjoy. It's actually, I've put it into words more than once as saying, I can be leaving home and be thinking, I don't know if I want to go here or not. But by the time I get to the hospital and I've walked up to the room, there's a feeling of fellowship that comes over me. I know I'm there in the back and the front of my mind, and I feel good because it's that fellowship where I can say anything. It's all confidential. And it goes like that. Every time I walk through the door, I feel that. and I feel like I've maybe given something or helped myself when I leave, I always am more grateful when I leave, always. And I had to learn to forget what was there when I left, because I carried it around for me with me, and it was no good. I had to quit for a while, and that was way back. I first started, but I don't do that now.
Okay.
How many years have you been there?
20 years combined. I have 2 groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what would you say to somebody else who is sitting out there and has related to some of the things you've talked about, but they're afraid to quit drinking? They're afraid of that nobody will like them, or that they won't be able to function at work, or they won't be able to sleep, or whatever their excuse is.
I can say a few words to push it around a little bit that I think are good words. It never gets any better if you want to drink and keep your life going in a terrible manner and thinking you need help. You do need help. But it's not, we've learned nowadays, at least at Powell and around, not to shove and push and be confrontive. This is a loving program. You can learn to love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, what is going on, you know? And also, in my materialistic world, because I'm a stuff kind of guy, I want that stuff. I learned how to make money. I learned how to program myself to get to college and, you know, make my life into somebody. I'm driving new cars. I got the clothes I want. I've got a car collection. It's all because I got sober, and for no other reason. For no other reason. Your life, once you quit and learn how to stay that way, it gets better and better and better, and that is no baloney.
Well, I sure appreciate you taking the time and coming in today and sharing this with people, your life and your story. And it's so odd, Lila, that that's what everybody says. They say that I got a life back, and yet in the middle of it, we thought we had a pretty good life the way it was. But something was driving us spiritually or relationship or financially that was telling us that we ought to quit, And then when we do, the promises come true.
Absolutely. And I think fear is what keeps people drinking. Fearful that they don't know what to expect. They're fearful that they're never going to have fun again. They don't know how to live sober, and you attract what you are. So you've attracted all these dysfunctional people. You've attracted a bunch of alcoholics or druggies, and that life is normal. So people that live outside that realm to you is unknown. And so the fear comes from the unknown, not knowing what to expect or how to live that way. And that's what we teach in treatment, and that's in 12-step programs. That's what we teach. So it's a wonderful way to live.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
I was just affirming what she said. It sure is.
Yeah. And there's got to be great reward for the two of you in watching someone start coming, or, they come in and they're a wreck, and then watching them, get married and have babies, or as you said, just live an incredibly successful life.
Yep.
There's something to say for that.
I should say.
All right. Thanks for coming in today. Now, we won't have a Recovery Monday next Monday because it'll be Memorial Day. You'll be at the lake anyway, right?
Right.
But the next week after that, we have Ray. Is that right?
Yes.
She's a fascinating young lady. There will be no quiet moments in this room with Ray here that Monday. And she is, do you know Ray?
No.
Oh, yeah. She's quite a spark plug. But we look forward to having you that. Now, if you ever have any questions or you want to talk to somebody, I'm available. I'm not just a guy on the radio. I do this because I want to help people. And if you know somebody who needs help, and maybe it's you yourself, call me. Let's talk. Reach out. Your name and your information will never leave my lips. And you'll be able to sit down with somebody that you can trust and share with what your life's like and what has to happen so you can have the glorious life and live the promises and be the creation that God created you to be. Until tomorrow, I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thanks for listening. And do me a favor tonight, would you? Just sometime tonight, maybe while you're sitting there watching TV or maybe before you snuggle into bed, just do me a favor, would you?